Okay, Java exception. We know what are the types of exceptions. We know, right? And then exception handlings, how to handle the exception, and try and catch block. So now we are going to see about a threading. So what is called a threading? So this is actually an advanced concept. You may have an idea about this by reading this operating system course. So which is your, which will be your regular subject in a college. So let's have a recap on that. So what is threading? So thread means we know, right? So what is thread? So example, you have an operating system. Inside the operating system, there are multiple, process will be there. Examples, you can see here, process one, process two, process three. And in the process one, there are multiple, threads will be running. Thread one, thread two, and thread three, right? So the thread is a lightweight sub-processes. The smallest, the smallest unit of a processing, it is a separate path of execution. Okay. And the process of executing the multi-threads simultaneously. So the multi-threads like thread one or thread two. So these are all going to run simultaneously. Okay. That is called as a multi-threading. And there are two ways to create a thread. So what are the two ways? One is by extending a thread class, the another by implementing the runnable interface. Okay, these are the two ways. So now we can see an example first using a extending the thread class. Okay, so where is the Eclipse? Close it. Okay, we open it. So first we are going to see about how the thread creation by extending a thread class. So we are going to create a, so let me change it into Java preference. Okay, done. Here we can create one class. Okay, so in this src file, let me create one class called thread demo. Okay, so thread demo is my class name. So what is the first way of creating a thread? Using a extends keyword, right? So we can use a extends keyword here after the class. Okay, so extends keyword and what we need to extend using a thread class. And the next step is I need to use a run method. Okay, so what is this run method and the start method? So this run method will help you to run the program. So first we will see one simple example on this multi-threading, and then we'll move on to the a very big example. Okay, so advantages of using this multi-threading is it does not block the user because the threads are independent. Okay, each and every threads are independent, and you can perform a multi operation at the same time, and you can perform many operation together. So save it. You can save a time over there. Then uh, what is this about, thread class and how we can process with this methods? There are two methods we will be using here. One is called as a start, the another one is called as a run method. Okay, so run method will perform the thread manipulation, and the start is to start the thread. Clear? So this is the main process. So let's see an example. So here we can imagine. So there is some exception is going to create. Okay, sometimes, yeah, most probably you will get some exception, right? So we can first I'm creating a run method. Okay, this is my run method. This will help you to manipulate your thread. Okay, the manipulation of a thread. If there is some exception has happened, then how we can handle it? Using a try, right? Try exception. So where exactly we'll be getting this kind of exception? That is displaying a thread that is running. So I want to show that is thread is running on the process. So system out.println, and here let me give thread. So which particular thread is running right now? So I want to check that. So for that, the you need to mention the class name, that is thread. Inside the thread class, there is something called as a current thread. Current thread to show you or display you what is the current thread is running on your process. And next is to get the ID. I want to just fetch the ID of the thread. Clear? So this is how I want to print it. And finally, I'll just add this is running. Okay. So this particular thread is running. After this try, we use catch exception. So in this, we don't know what exception is going to be. Okay, in a collection and all, in a exception handling, we understood that how to handle this color, that is manipulations, right? What I'm trying to say is, if there is an arithmetic exception, the arithmetic exception will be thrown. Or if it is a null pointer will be thrown, right? For each and everything, there is a correct exact exception will be there. But here, you are not going to mention the exact exception. Instead of that, I give a general name that is called exception E. So this will throw an exception. If there is anything is if there is some exception was happened, then it will show the exception is caught. That's okay. And this is our super class. I'm going to create a main class, okay, to print the output. So public class, and then what is the class name? We can give it as main, okay, and create a main method. Okay, just create a main method, and after this, I'm going to loop all the threads. Whatever the current thread is running on, so I'm going to loop it. Let's consider integer n is equals to 10. Okay, I'm giving it as a trend. So this is the number of threads which we are providing initially. Clear? And then a for loop to iterate the value. So integer I is equals to 0 and I is less than n and I increment. Clear? That's all. And later to this, we can create this class name A is equals to new of, and using this object, we are going to call this that is a start. So start method is a default method. You don't want to define this. This start method is to start the thread. Okay. This run method is to manipulate your thread. Okay, these are the two different predefined methods which we are using. Okay, now we can run this program. It's showing as a server. Okay, let me. What is the error? Let me rename. Check what is the error. There is no error at all. Let's run this. Already changed this perspective. So now you can see, I'm sorry, students. So I've added this servlet, so that's why it is showing error. Okay, now you can see what is a thread, and it is fetched three thread current, that is current thread ID. ID is 15, 21, and 18 and 20. It goes on like this. I've mentioned some 10, that's why it is showing 10. If I give some thread more than, that is I'm just giving as 100, and I'm running this program again. So you can see more number of threads are being executed. Totally 100 threads will be, it is running. Okay, this is the first way of doing with this multi-threading. And what is the another concept? Another concept in the PPT you can see by implementing the runnable interface. To implementing the runnable means, let's change this extends keyword into implements keyword. And what interface we are going to use? Runnable interface. Clear? So this is the runnable interface, and everything is going to be similar. But if you come here in this particular point, we cannot, directly use this super class name, because here you need to mention, let's say for an example, I'm creating main A, and then or else we can add it here as well. So I'm just changing here. Inside of this, you can mention new keyword of the main. So thread demo and then new thread demo. Sorry. That is your thread class. So once the thread class is completed, then you need to use a class name inside this. You cannot do it directly. Okay, that is now the issue resolved. Clear? So this is the one line you should remember. You cannot directly use the thread to execute it. Instead of that, we need to mention the class name, okay, which holds or which get the implements of that runnable interface. So let's run this program. Here you can see, let me reduce this to some 5. Okay. So these are the two ways to use the multi-threading concept. Okay, so thread class versus runnable class. If you see, if we extend the thread class, our class cannot extend any other classes. Okay. So example, let's say if I have this class, okay, if I have this class, I extended with using some thread class. Okay. If that is in the previous scenario, if I do that, then this class cannot extend with any other class because Java does not support the multiple inheritance. That is not possible. Clear? And if we implement the runnable interfaces, our class still extends the other base classes. Okay, still you can, what you can do? You can use this class and you can extend with some other classes. That is possible. So that is the difference between the, extending using a thread and thread class and implements using the runnable interface. Okay. And we can also, achieve the basic functionality of the thread by extending the a thread class because it provides some inbuilt methods. So this is all about, this is a very simple and uh, a very small topic to know about this. Next, we can move on to the Lambda expression. This is very, very important, Lambda expression. So Lambda expression is used to, provide the implementation of an interface that has a functional interfaces. It saves a lot of code in case of a Lambda expression. We don't need to define the method again for providing the implementation. This is mainly to provide the implementation of functional interfaces and less coding. Okay. So these are the two key points. So this will definitely ask because whenever you go for an interview, this Lambda concept will surely ask. So what is called Lambda? How you will, you know, represent what is the expression? Everything they will be asking you. Clear? And Java Lambda expressions, there are, three ways you can define it. Multiple parameters we can give or one parameter or no parameter. So how we can define this? First is argument list. So this is called to be what? Argument list. And then this is a arrow token. And this is going to be a body. Okay, whatever the declaration you're going to specify, that will be inside this Lambda body. That's all. So now we can see about how to represent Lambda and how to define it. Okay. Let's remove this class name. I'll give a new class name called Lambda. Okay, so this is my class name. So now, um, how we can represent this? To represent this, first is argument list, and then arrow token, and then your a body of Lambda expression. Okay, this is how we will be working on. And what are the different ways we can perform? That is zero parameters, single and multiple parameters. If it is going to be in a single parameter, then it will be like this. Add a token and then your statement. And there is no parameter. If it is going to be a single parameter, then you'll be having some variable inside this, and then you will print it. Then multiple arguments, that is argument list, then multiple argument will be present like A, comma B, and then your Lambda body. Clear? So first, we can move on to the basic example of how to print the this one Lambda function. Okay, give me 1 minute. So we'll see one important thing, and there is another point. We discussed about two things, right? Regarding this lambda. In an interview, you can say to create a less code. We are going for this lambda, and the another one is a functional interface. What is called as this functional interface? If Java interface contains one and only one abstract method, then it is termed as a functional interface. Okay, if it contains one and only one abstract method, then that term is called as functional interface. Okay, this is only one method specifies the intent purpose of interface. For example, let's consider the runnable interface from the package of java.lang. Okay, is a functional interface because it consists only one method, that is run method. Clear? So what I'm trying to say is, in the previous example, in the multi-threading, what we have used runnable interface. Okay, this is my interface. From which package? This is from a java.util package. Okay, it is under the java.util package. Here in the runnable interface, I'm using only one method that is called as a run method. Example, I'm saying that is run method. Then that is going to be a functional interface. So how to, define this functional interface? There are some steps to define this. Let's see by an example how to define this one by seeing one simple example. Okay, so let's create. Okay, so first is let's consider. I'm going to change this class to be interface. Okay, so this is going to be an interface. Inside of this interface, I have something called as void a print. Void print is my method name. And I'm creating a class alpha. Okay, inside this alpha, in this first line, there is a functional interfaces without any parameter we are going to create, right? So this is our superclass. So inside the superclass, let me create one method, a static void, a function of. Inside this function of, let me give one parameter value. Okay, let's say the single parameter value. So instead of using this interface, let me create one. I just want to show you one simple example on this. That's why I'm trying to do this. Okay, so let's see. So as of now, everyone understand till this, right? Less code and functional interface. And this is the package and how they are using this functional interface. And there is something called as argument list and arrow token and body of lambda. So we are going to follow the same thing. Let's take creating a main method. Okay, inside this main method, let's create an array list with some elements. Okay, array list. Here, I just want the integer data type alone. So let me give that, and variable name is going to be A, and there is object. So new array list of array list integer, then off. Clear? Next, select in this place and select on control enter. Sorry, control space. Okay, the error was clear. The next step is I'm going to add some element inside this array. Let's say a add of some value 20 and a dot add of 90, a dot add of 100, a dot add of 150. Like this, I have added some integer data type. So using a lambda function, that is expression, I'm going to print all the elements of this array. Okay, using a lambda expression. How we can do this? First, I'm here in this place. First is variable, that is a object dot. Then our for each loop, inside this for each loop. So let me provide one a parameter. Okay, one parameter value. There is a single parameter, that is a variable, is called n. And then arrow token. And what we need to print here, print line. I just want to print the value of n. Okay, whatever the value is going to save here, I just want to print it out. Clear? So this is the statement. That's all. Clear? And next is I'm going to use the same lambda expression, but here I want to print the even number. So this expression is to print all the elements in the array list. Okay, but the second expression, I'm going to use the lambda function, but lambda expression. So using this lambda expression, so a dot for each. Okay, for each. Using this, I will print the even numbers. How we can do this? Let's see, a dot, and then for each of, and then n arrow token. What is the expression? So expression is if my n is, if it is not going to have any reminder by dividing 2, then the output is going to be what? The even numbers. So let me give it as n. That's all. So let's run this program. I can also give some name inside of this. Okay. So now you can see clearly. Okay, so it prints all the numbers. Okay, printing all the numbers. Okay, I can add some odd numbers here. Let's give 1 and 3. Okay, so now we can rerun it. Go here, you can see it prints all the numbers, but in the second statement, it is only printing a even number alone. Okay, so this is about a lambda expression. So now next we can see how to add the multiple, parameter values. Okay, so let's see one more example, and then now we will move on to the annotation part. Okay, the class is lambda. All right. Okay. So inside this lambda, we are going to give a multiple, that is parameter. So in this case, I'm adding the operation of implemented using this lambda function. So how to add a implementation, that is interface. So using a interface keyword, I can add the name. So let's give the interface name to be a functional interface, right? So here in Lambda, we are using a functional interface. So functional interface means it will contain only one method. Am I right? So let me give a method name. So integer operation, and operation is nothing but just we are going to add a and b and we are going to multiply it. Okay, this is the process we are going to follow. And say a message is implemented using a Lambda expression. So the next is this is one interface. This is first functional interface. Okay, this is the first one. And the second one, I will create one more. This is my second that is functional interface. So here, let me give say message. Okay, this is my second thing. And here it is not going to be an integer, right? That even we can understand. As you can see, the method name, it is the same message. So the output is going to be in a string. So string data type, and let me give the variable name to be message. Here we can change the functional interface to 2. So as of now, we have 2 functional interface, and for each I have one method. And the next third step is to perform the functional that is interaction operation on A and B. So what is that? To return the output. To return the output, I need one method. So private integer operate of integer a comma integer b. So inside this will return the values. So here we can give some object name which we are going to share it in the later part. So I'm using that object here. Let's say f object dot operation. I'm going to call this method. Okay. So operation a comma b. That's so as of now it will show the error. Why? Because so we have not created the thing. Clear? And then we are moving to the so the methods, everything is done. We can move on to the main method. So inside the main method, the lambda expression for addition for 2 parameters. Okay. So data type for x and y is optional. And then this expression implements the functional interfaces. So let's see how we can do this. First, for the addition and for the manipulation, I'm going to use this interface, right? So use this interface and create one object. Let's say multiply. Multiply is my object name. Then we can create the argument list. What are the arguments I need? Integer a and b. So instead of integer a and b, I can give x, integer y. Okay, these are the two things I can add. An arrow token, x into y. You can give whatever the variable you want. This is not mandatory x and y. Okay, it should be different. And what is the next step inside the functional? You need to create the object. So how to create an object? Using the function name. That is a class name. We can create an object and then we can call it, right? So let me give LOBJ is my object name. So new lambda of. So LOBJ dot what is the method name which we are going to call? That is nothing but operate. Here itself, I can give a value. So let me give a value of I'm going to give the value 10 and 20. And finally, I can give what I'm going to do. So I'm going to add it, right? So let's print this value. So let's print this value, that is add. And next to this add, what is the next procedure? So we can multiply this two numbers. So first is addition and then next is subtraction. Create one more interface here. Add. Okay. And what is the method name? Separation. Okay, the operate only, no? So method name is operate. Clear? So it is showing an error. Okay, this is going to be the interface one, right? And then this is also interface one for multiply and for this one. So here we can add addition and this is going to be multiplication. And then the class name and object. So new lambda of and system.out.println. We can print the value. So here I'm just giving it as addition. Addition of two numbers. Okay. So addition is plus lobj.operate number and add off. So here why I'm getting an error. Create a class. Okay, let's see at the last. And for this same, I'm going to use it for multiply. So multiply, we can change this to multiply. The third argument is going to be multiply. That's all. Fine. And the lambda expression for single parameter. So this expression implements a function interface 2. Okay, what is the last value? Let's copy this. Okay, let's copy this and we'll do the last one. Everything is correct, right? Add integer x and y later and we have given yes. Okay. So the next is going to be functional interface of 2. So here, let me create EF object. So F object, so this is the F object. And what is the argument we are going to pass? Only one argument, right? So only one argument. That is method arrow token and the system.out.println. Inside this, let's give hello plus message. If object dot say message let's see what is the error. Interface. Okay, I'm sorry, miss. I didn't add this function interface. That's why it is showing error. What is the name? This is going to be one. Okay, and here I will use this one. Because the third thing is here in this operate, we are going to perform two things, that is addition and the subtraction, that multiplication. So we need a third one, third value. So let me create EF object here. So now everything is Now we can run this program. What happened here? Cannot retain the void result. So you have given integer only by. So as of now, we'll just pass this one. We'll run the remaining part. So run as Java application. So this is for addition and this for a subtraction value. Okay. So this is for addition and this is for multiplication. And if you want to add one more thing, that also we can do. If you copy this, so this is very simple way of doing it, right? Here we can change it to divide. Can give divide, and then you can also do one more thing. That is subtract sub minus. Okay. So later do that. Just copy this. Use the object. Object is divide here. And then and copy this. Here you can mention subtraction. Okay. So that's all. If you run this program, you can see all the values. Clear, ma? So this is a lambda expression. Here and here we got what error. So let's rectify it. This is a simple error. System dot cannot return okay. So this is the error void. Got it. So now we can print the value hello plus message. So if you run this, you can see the wordings of this one. Clear with the lambda expression, ma everyone? Understood? Yes or no? Can I get some response? Can we move on to the annotation part? Okay, fine. Thank you. I hope you guys are also doing it on your system. Please do it. Again, continue with the annotation part. Give me a minute, okay? Okay, students. So we can start with the annotation part. So how to work with this annotation and what are the different annotations are there? Okay, we'll see one by one. Let's get into the PPT now. So it's a PPT. So as of now, you guys understood how to make a less code and the implementation of functional interfaces. So let's jump into, I think we have completed collection part. Yes, right? So we are moving to the annotation. So what is annotation? Java annotation. Annotations are used to provide the supplemental informations about a program. Annotations start with at. Annotation do not change the action of compiled program. We cannot do anything on a compiled program. Annotation helps to associate the meta information to a program element. Let's say, for an example, sometimes you get some warnings kind of thing, right? So that can be avoided using this annotation. This plays a major role in a Spring Boot concept. Okay, so we will be mentioning example. Let's consider at Spring Boot application. At Spring Boot application is annotation which is used to run the Spring Boot application. Okay, so let's see one by one. So how to work with this annotation part. And this is a meta information. In an interview point of view, you can tell all these points. So supplemental information is about the program and it starts with at and do not change the actions of compiled program and associated meta data to the program element. Clear? First, we'll see what are the annotation formats are there. Let me delete this. Created a class called annotation. First, we'll see what are the different annotation formats. So first one is marker annotation. So marker annotation does not contain, okay, it does not or do not contain members or elements. So it is just to marking the document. Okay, so that is the main purpose. Let's say for an example, this will be the syntax is at annotation name. Okay, it won't contain any elements inside this. For an example, we can say at override. And next one is a single element annotations. What is this called? It contains only one element. Okay, this contains only one element. So how to represent this? So nothing but add annotation name of, and inside this you have to mention the element name is equals to the element value. Yeah, very simple. And then the example of this we can see it later, and multiple element annotation. So multiple elements means these are the annotation formats. Okay, third one is called as multiple element annotation. So this means it contains multi multiple elements separated by comma. Okay, this multiple element will be separated by commas. So here we already have one, right? So we can add using a comma. We can add one more element here. Okay, like this. So as we know, as we have understood, so how many that is what are the different annotation format. So the next thing is annotation placement. So where we need to place the annotation. Okay, that we definitely we need to know, right? So first one is about the declaration. So about declaration part. Let's say for an example, mm, if there is some method is there, okay, above the method, I can mention some declaration part, that is a annotation. Or I can, there are different types of annotation is also available. So we'll see one by one what are these kind of annotation. That is very, very important to know. We'll go with one simple example. Let me remove all this. So what are the different types of annotation? Two types are there. One is called as a predefined annotation, and the another one you can say like a custom annotation, and third one is meta annotation. Okay. So in the first predefined annotation, we'll see about deprecated. There is one annotation called as deprecated. That is mostly the annotation first letter. That entire word that is sentence will be a camel. That is a Pascal case. Okay. So if I have one more method, then I should mention it in a capital letter. The first letter should be in a capital. Okay, let's get into the code now. So how to mention this? What is called this deprecated? So at deprecated. At deprecated means, so this annotation is a marker annotation that we already know. If something was deprecated entirely from the program and new element has been added, then we can mention that above the method, the deprecated method, you can mention this are deprecated. So let's see an example, a very simple example. Hmm, let's consider I have a method called that is public static void, and the method is going to be deprecated method. Okay, this is my method name. This is example. You're the programmer. You have written some code, but later you are not going to use that method. Okay, so let's consider like that. Very simple thing. And let me give some logic. Logic is deprecated method using a deprecated annotation. Okay, this is my text. So after this, let me create a main method to call this. I'm going to call this. How we can call this? Using a method name. Very simple. If you call this, you will get this value. But if I use at annotation, that is at deprecated annotation before this deprecated method, then it will indicate or it will give some warning. Let's see. At deprecated. You can see it has been striked out. Clear, students? So why we are going for this at deprecated? Next is the another annotation which is available under that is under this predefined annotation is override. Override. Override annotation. This specifies that a method of a subclass overrides a method of a superclass. This is happening. This we have discussed in our method overriding concept. What is a method overriding concept? There will be a two classes, superclass and subclass. A subclass will override the method which is there in the superclass, right? So that can be avoided. There's why this is actually it is not mandatory to use at override, but when overriding a method, however, if you use it, the compiler gives an error if something is wrong. If something is going to be wrong, then it will show an error like this is the error. So okay, so let's consider. So this is my superclass. Okay, this is my superclass. I'm going to create one method, public void display. This is my method name. Clear? So now I have a method. Next is I'm creating a subclass. Class. Here also, I have a subclass called, let's consider, I have a class called B. And using extends keyword, I'm going to get the method which is available in my superclass. For that, I use this extends keyword. Okay. So let's use the same method name inside this. Here. Println. Let me give some different value. Okay. So here I'm giving okay. I'm just copying this. Clear? So there are two different classes we have. The next is I'm creating one more method to call this method. Okay. So public print a message of, and then let me give, I'm going to call this display method. I'm not written anything. Okay. So that's all. So till this we are clear. All right. So next is the final, I need an output. Let me give a class as a main. So main class. Inside the main class, let me create a main method. Okay, I'm sorry. So inside this main method, let me give a main method. Okay. Um, so what is the class name? So I'm going to get the value of this subclass property. Okay. The variable object I'm giving as E, new keyword of B of, and E dot print the message. Clear? That's all very simple. Now, if you run this program, so what is the error? Main method cannot. Okay, you can see the output, but you're using it in a two times you're using this. But if there is some error was happened, then that will be, shown in the output using this override. Okay, that's why we are using this at override annotation. Clear, everyone? Next one, it is called as a suppress warning. So till this everyone clear, I just want to get whether you have understood or not. Can I get some response, students? Okay, thank you. So any doubts, please let me know. Okay. Uh, One more thing, students, if you're sincerely, understand these concepts and give, if I execute one or two example in the class time, you can execute at least 2 to 3 example. That is different example on your end. Then surely you will understand the concept. In the interview also, um, it will be easy for you to give the reply to the interviewer. Okay. So we are almost that is in this Jan, Feb, and March. You will be getting a lot of placements. Um, some different locations also available. Example, you are in Andhra Pradesh, right? If the job location is going to be some other place, if it is going to be in Gujarat or something else, then what you can do is you can just get the opportunities and understand the things. You don't miss any opportunities hereafter. Try everything. Clear? Okay, let's get into the topic again. So let me remove all this. So now we're going to see about, let me first create the class name, class annotation. We're going to talk about a predefined annotation that is called at suppress warning. What is this at suppress warning? At suppress warning is, let's say for an example, there is some warning was happened that can be, suppressed, that is forced to show it, right? Maybe that can be deprecated or unchecked. These may be the two reasons. Inside this, you will be giving the warning category. Okay, what is this type? This annotation formatter with a single element, right? So here I'm giving a warning category and at suppress warning. So what are the different values we can provide? Either we can go with the deprecations or unchecked. Okay, so let's see how it is going to be. It is very easy to understand this example. Let's say for an example, let's take the previous one, public static void deprecated method. So this has actually happened due to this was deprecated entirely, right? Okay. Let me give some output. Deprecated method and main method. Inside the main method, let's say I'm giving the class name and O is equals to new of annotation and O dots. Let's call this method. So there is nothing. Here you can see some message or the warning it is showing, right? Let's over this. What it is? Static method, deprecated method from the type annotation should be accessed in a static way. Okay, there is some warning it is showing up, right? To avoid this warning, okay, to avoid this warning, you need to mention this to be a deprecated message, okay, using annotation called at deprecated. And this is what? This is there is some warning which is showing up that should be rectified. For that, we are using this suppress warning. Spelling mistake. Let me change it. Suppress. Okay. Suppress warnings. But inside this, you need to specify what is a warning category, unchecked or deprecated, right? So this is going to be deprecated. That's at suppress warnings. Spelling is correct once again. So the compiler, warning will be removed. No. Actually, this will remove, this two will be removed. Let's run this program once. We'll try both the things. If you're going to add two things, okay, like deprecated, comma, unchecked means you can add one more value like this, unchecked. Closes curly brace. Okay. So like this, you can add it and this will remove the warnings. And next we can see about a safe warning that is variable arguments. So here just you can understand how it has been working. Okay, either it is going to be deprecated or unchecked. So the warning will be shown, suppress warning will be shown. Now we can move on to the next one that is called as head safe variable arguments. Clear? So this is the another annotation. Let's say for an example, I'm creating a method, a private void display list. Inside this display list, I want to display the list of strings which is there in the list. Okay, so list interface, and inside this, let me give a string is my data type I'm going to use, and three dot that is here. If we are using it in the method, then that is going to be what? It's called a rest or spread. That is called as a rest parameter. That is a spread here, right? Spread parameters and list. That is, sorry, arguments means rest parameter. And inside the for loop, I want to print all the values. Okay. So let me copy this value and create an object colon the list. And system.out.println. Here you can print the list of values list. And we can create a main method. Class name. Let me add the package. So inside the list string, let's create one object called universal list and the arrays dot as list. So this is the array. Arrays is a class. Okay, inside that class we have multiple methods. Okay, so what is the method I'm going to use this as list method. Okay, this is under the arrays class. Let me give some text here. Give anomaly. Sorry, Annamacharya and then university. Okay, so like this I have added. And next is again I'm going to create the another. Sorry, let's call this method. What is the value? That is object. So this is my object. And again, we can create one more. So in this one more, let's language list. So why we are using this safe variable and arguments? That's why we are using the arguments as well as the variable creation. Okay, let me change it here. And the language means we'll go on to Spring Boot. And then what else we can give? React.js. Okay, these are the two things. So now you can see some warning is coming out. First, what it is, just hover it. Type safety, a generic array of list string is created for a variable arguments parameter. Okay. Uh, so this is the, error we are getting. So actually the list and this list, specifies a variable length. Okay. This specifies a variable length argument of list. So this means that a display method can have a 0 or more arguments, right? It can, we already know this concept in JavaScript. We read about this, spread and rest parameter, right? So the same thing. It can contain 0 or it can contain more arguments. In the, above, that is in this program, if it compiles without error but gives a warning that is safe variable arguments warning is we are getting. So to avoid this warning, we are going to use the annotation in this place. So where exactly we can use this annotation? We can, later we can add it above this method name at save variable arguments. Okay, so now you can see the warning has been removed. Okay, clear? So this is the annotation example for safe warning. Clear, everyone? I hope you guys have understood how to work with this predefined annotation. Let's get into one custom annotations, how to create a custom annotation. Custom annotation. Okay. First thing, we should know how to create this custom annotation, right? So let's see that. To create this custom annotation, first one is you need to mention the access specifier. Okay. And then at interface. Later to that, we can give the annotation name. That's all. Very simple. And whatever the value you're going to give, that we can give it like data type or method name. That's the default one. Okay, let's see an example how to create a custom annotation. To create a custom annotation, you need to use an at interface. Okay. So let's create an interface at interface. What is the next thing? Annotation name. You can give whatever the name you want. Let me give Annamacharya. Okay, Annamacharya is my annotation. That is annotation name. Inside this, what is the syntax is? After this, you need to mention a data type and the method name. Okay. And later to that, what is the default value that we can mention? Default value. Clear? So I need a data type of string. Let's give string and the method name is going to be value of and the default value. So default keyword. That's okay. So as of now, we have created our custom annotation. So we are going to use it in our program. Let me create a class main. inside the class main, let's use this annotation Annamacharya. So before this, let's give at Annamacharya. Okay. And what is the value? That is a default value. So value is equals to, let me give EduNet Foundation TSP program. Okay, this is my value. I'm giving it in this place. Added to that a method name, a simple method name, public void method test the method one. And then inside this simple method, we are going to create the another main method. So main method, how to call this main method? What is the class name? Let's copy this class name. So annotation A is equals to new annotation of and A dot the method. We are calling this method. I oh sorry, I need to use this one, right? Main and main. No enclosing so let me check once. Okay, okay, fine. So sometimes it throws an exception. So let me give throws keyword. So this also we know. So when to use this throw exception. Yes, the braces are correct. One, two. There is a very silly mistake. One, two. For this, we are using this one, and this is also completed. And one. Okay, man, this she can tell you. So what is the error? Okay. So as of now, you guys have understood. So what are the, different types of annotation and how to use it, right? And also, we have something called as a meta annotation. In a meta annotation, there is something called retention and documented. Okay. These are not mostly used, but you have to know what these kind of retention, that is annotation. So now we can move on to the quiz part. So you have completed the basics and advanced of Java. So predicting the amount of rainfall in a region based on the various QoS, what? Thrown a problem. And what will be the output of Java program in this? So if you run this, it will not printed because it is 1 divided by 0. So exception will be thrown here. So the output is going to be world. And the which version of Java is introduced in annotation? Annotation is introduced in Java 5. And which of these method deletes all the methods from invoking the collections? That is clear method. What is the use of try and catch? It allows manually handle the exception and it allows a fix error and it prevents the automatic terminating of a program in a case when the exception occurs. Okay. So all the 3 points are valid. So it is all of the mentioned. Clear students? So now we can move on to the next part, that is server side technology. So this is our Friday class, right? Okay, Friday. Mm, so we have on Saturday also. Server side scripting. Okay, learning a server side scripting. Understanding the server side scripting, Java servlet, servlet lifecycle, servlet API, and JSP, Java server page, JSP lifecycle, handling a client side data, handling a cookie in JSP, session tracking in JSP, and expression language, and then JSTL. Okay, these are the different topics we are going to learn. First, we can understand the architecture. Okay, so how it is going to process. So client server scripting and server side scripting. We already know client server scripting, that is called as JS, right? Server side scripting, we are going to learn about a JSP. Clear? So let's see the browser. So there is some scripting language written and it is connected through the network and the server API program and the scripting server scripting page has been analyzed and it will just interacting with the backend database, right? So introduction. So welcome everyone for the server-side scripting is a programming technique used to create a dynamic web content and perform the server-side related task. And from this point, you should be very careful, students, whatever the project you are going to create. Okay. In that project, I need a front end, back end with a database for sure. So for back end, you can use this JSP and servlet also for your programming. Okay. So just listen carefully while I'm executing. I'll show you the simple examples. You can, you can work based upon that. Yes. Okay. Performs a server related task. It involves writing a code that run on the server and process a request from the client. So this allows the generation of personalization web page and data processing, user authentication and access control. So to make it clear, I can add one slide here and I will tell you. Someone is in unmute, please mute yourself. Okay, so let's consider I have a page. So if I write this using a HTML and CSS for the presentation and some JS code. Okay, this is my application. So the user will be using this particular part, right? This is called as a front end. So it will be, interacted with the backend that is called a server. So we are going to learn about the web server, not a application server. So in a web server, especially here in our program, we have added Tomcat server. Okay, Apache Tomcat server. So this is either our server side. Example, this has been written by JSP. Let's consider. Okay, so what happened is whatever the user is requesting for, this will be, searched inside this web server and the information will be given back. How this process will be done? Using the HTTP protocol. Okay, using this protocol only, we'll be getting an access of a data. So to create a dynamic web content and perform the server side task. And even you can make a user authentication, everything. Example, uh, let's take any kind of website. Okay, any kind of website. Let's consider Gmail. You're giving your password, username, and the password. Once it is given, what happened? The data will be analyzed and it will show the result for you. It will show the website, right? So this process will be, handled using this servlet and JSP part. Okay. So understanding the server side scripting. So database, and here you can see client. So request a page, I request a HTTP document, and finally it returns a hypertext document and the request a page, so request web page. So it's a process in which the server data formats into the HTML response before it is sent back to the web browser. Okay. And this server-side scripting help to develop, interact with the website that communicate with the database also. As of now, we understood what is server-side technology. Okay. In that server-side technology, let's learn about the servlet. What is servlet technology? Servlet technology is to create a web application. We are going to create a web application. Your servlet is a class, Java class. Once you create a program, there you can see some, dot a class file will be created, right? So that dot class file is considered as a servlet. Okay. So it will be a Java file only. So let me change this color. Okay, and extends the capability of a server that hosts application access by means of request and response model. Servlets can or mainly used to extend the application hosted by web services. And servlet lifecycle. What are the lifecycle to be followed in this servlet? So first one is a loading a servlet and initializing the servlet, request handling, and destroying the servlet. These are the four stages will be there. So for while starting the program, it will get into loading and initialization. For that, for initialization part, we need init method. For a service, for a request and response handling, we are using this service method. And to end the process, if the request is not responding, then it want to loop it again, then it will move on to the second process again. But the initialization will be done only once in servlet, and the destroying is also will be done only once. Okay, for that program, and the lifecycle get ends. What are the servlet APIs? What is the servlet API? JavaX.servlet, JavaX.servlet HTTP packages. So these are the different packages we need to represent the interfaces and classes for servlet API. Okay, so APIs is nothing but application programming interface. Um, Mostly, and that will be like a functionality. Okay, that is a functionality. And in a servlet package, there are two different things we already discussed: JavaX servlet and JavaX servlet HTTP. In a classes, so these are the different classes we have, and interfaces like request dispatcher, servlet, and servlet config. Okay, so here also we have a different interfaces and classes. Or the HTTP servlet class methods. Okay, there is here we have mentioned a different HTTP servlet, right? So in a HTTP classes, especially we are talking about this, an HTTP servlet class method, it extends a generic servlet class and implements a serializable interface. Okay, so whenever you are using this HTTP servlet, okay, you need to use an extends keyword to use for a generic class, generic servlet, and implements keyword for what? That is for the interface called serializable. An HTTP servlet class in Java provides several methods that you can override to handle a different HTTP request and perform the other operations also, like service method, do get, do post, and do put method. And how to create a servlet example. Okay, let's see this example. This is the way we are going to create. I'll tell you how to create this. Okay. So before getting into this servlet part, two things you should make sure. Okay, what are the two things? First one is you should know change the perspective. So here you have some perspective, right? Open perspective. Just click on this and select Java doubly because we are going to create a Java enterprises application. So select this and it changes. You can see it is selected to Java doubly. Okay. So you need to change the perspective to what? Java doubly. This is the first step. Okay. And once you are done, if you are not able to see in this side, then you can go to the Windows and perspective and open perspective and click on Java. Okay. So this is done. What is the next step? The second step is to import or install Apache Tomcat to your Eclipse. As of now, you guys won't have any Eclipse on your PC. That is in a Eclipse. That is on this particularly on this Eclipse. So how we can install this? So get into the website. Again, mention Apache Tomcat. So I'm going to download 8. Okay, 8.5. So let's see here. Mm, yeah. So this is the one mark. So I already downloaded. So what I'll do is I will copy this and put it in the notepad and I will share it in the group also. Okay. First you need to download the file. So .cgi. Click on this core. Under the core, you can see 32-bit Windows Service Installer, right? So select Windows Service and core tab. Okay. Once you click on this, it will get downloaded. Okay, it will get downloaded. And the third step is the configuration, that is setup of this Tomcat. How to set up this Tomcat? There, you can give next and next. That is fine. But there is some option will be asked. So what is the port number for HTTP? So it will be asking a port number. So let me tell you. So on the server, so it will be asking a port number for HTTP and then the Tomcat admin port. So there is some default port number will be there, but if you want to change the Tomcat number, you can change it off. Okay, let's say for an 80, the default is it will be 8000 or 8080. Okay, here I have changed to 8082. You can change it accordingly. Okay, so port number, so that is not a problem at all. And fourth one, so once the setup is done, so this is the main part. Other than that, everything will be similar. And fourth part is uh, just go to the Windows and click on Preference. And here you can see server, right? Click on server, runtime environment. Here you need to add the Apache Tomcat. Here I already have it. Okay, so here what we can do, under the preference, you have to go to the server. Under the server, runtime environment, add the Apache Tomcat server. Okay, so it will ask you example, it will show you like this, which particular version you want to install. As of now, we are trying to install this Apache Tomcat 8.5. Okay, you can click on this next and finish. Okay, and next, if you're not able to see this server, you're not able to see the server tab under in this console, after this console option, then you can go to the Windows again. Sorry, show view, and in the view you can select the server. Then it will show the server. If the server is not available, I mean, I'll write the steps. Windows, in the view, show view, you can select on a server. Okay, and sixth option is you need to right click here and create new server. Okay, so right click, create a new server. That's so just now you are good to write the code. Now you are good to write the code. So these are the steps you need to follow before a processing. So let me put it in the chat box. Okay, so you have to follow all these steps before doing the servlet concept. So now we can move on to the program part. So till this, everyone clear? Any questions? Any doubts? No doubts? No one is having no doubts? So only Sai Ganesh and Tanush and Surya Teja was answering. I don't know what remaining students are doing now. So Tejaswini also will sometimes she will also respond. Okay, Ma, if you understand, please make a note of it. Everyone has to create a full stack web development project. It should not be a simple front end project for sure. So now you can remove this. To create this servlet, go here, new dynamic web project and give the project name. Let's say I'm giving the uh, batch servlet. Okay, batch servlet is my project name and click on next. You can note down the Apache Tomcat is 8.5 and module is 3.1. The latest version has been chosen. If you are going to choose some other version, then it will be changed. The module will be changed accordingly. Click on next, next. And whenever we are doing with a servlet, you need to check this web.xml file. So what is this web.xml file? First of all, yes, before knowing about this concept, we'll understand the overview of what is this servlet and what are the interfaces we have and everything. First, a servlet is like a Java program only. Okay, so let me type it here itself. So we are going to work on this src folder. So right click, create new. Why it is not showing? So let me create a package form dot acharya dot student. Okay, this is my package name here. Let me create a, where is the servlet? Yeah, I'm going to create a servlet. So let me give a servlet name as hello servlet. Okay, this is my servlet name. So default, there is some package has been created. So let's leave it. Here just we can understand how to work with this project. So what is servlet first of all? What is servlet? Servlet means it's just a Java program. Okay, that runs on a web server. So what is a web server? Web server is nothing but our Tomcat server. So as of now, we have installed this Tomcat server, right? So that is going to be a web server. And Java program is, here we have created this allo servlet.java. So that is going to be our Java program. Okay. So this hello.java program is going to run on what? On the web server that is called as a Tomcat. But it's processed on the server rather than the client machine. So this servlet are often run when the user clicks a link or submits a form or perform another types of actions on a website. By using a servlet, you can collect input from the users through the web page form, presents records from a database or another resources. Okay, that is what are the advantages we have. So the servlets are scalable and robust and object oriented. So what is the architecture of this one? What is the servlet architecture? Because without knowing the concept, if you get into the code, you never understand it. That's why I'm just explaining this. javax.servlet package. Okay, this javax.servlet package provides the interfaces and classes. Okay, for writing a servlet. To write a servlet, what are the things we need? Interfaces and classes that was given by what? By the JavaX servlet packages. Okay. And then what is called this servlet interface? What is called the servlet interfaces? Servlet interface means it's a central abstraction in a servlet API. All the servlet implements this interfaces. Okay, whatever the servlet, So that servlets are going to implement this either directly or more commonly by extending the class that implements it, such as HTTP servlet. Okay. And we have something called as destroy method, get servlet config. So let's see one by one. What are the different methods we have? So one is called as a destroy method. What is destroy method? So this actually cleanups whatever the resource are being held or make sure that any persistence state is synchronized with the servlet currently in the memory state. So let's say for an example, something was, the user was requested and the response was given and the entire operation was done, then it has to destroy, right? So it has to clean up the memory in memory. So using this destroy method, it has been done. Next is a get servlet config. What is this get servlet config? It returns a servlet config object, so which contains any initialization parameter and start the configuration for this servlet. Okay, actually, this starts the start up the configuration for the servlet. Clear? So next is a get servlet info. What is got get servlet info? This actually return a string. So this returns a servlet. This returns a servlet config object. And then start up the servlet configuration. That's why we are going for this get servlet config. And what is called get servlet info? Info means this returns a string that's containing informations about what are the information it contains. It contains about the servlet, such as who's the author and the version and the copyrights and so on. Example I'm telling. Okay. All the informations will be easily get through this get servlet info. And what is called init method? Init, inside this we will use a servlet config as an object. So this initialize the servlet. Okay. This is going to initializes the so run once before any request can be received. Sorry, that is serviced. Okay, but it runs only once. And the another important method that is called as a service method. So this contains two objects. One is a servlet request, because the service is obviously the request and response. So that will be done here in the servlet request and response. It carries out a single request from the client. That's all. So this is all about the servlet interfaces and what are the package we need and what are the methods are required. Now we can see what is a task will be performed. Okay, give me 1 minute, students. Okay. Okay, so how the servlet task will be performed and what are the major things will be happen. Let's see the task. So this servlet, reads the explicit data that is sent by the client. Okay, that is from the browser. Then this includes a HTTP form on a web page. So let me show it as in a diagrammatical representation. Okay. So first, the explicit data that is sent from the client. Let's say this is going to be a client. Okay. So the data sent from the client. So this includes a HTML form. Okay, this example, let's consider this as a HTML form on a web page, or it could also come from an HTTP client program also. Okay, this server read explicit data. So it will read the explicit data. Okay, and read the implicit HTTP request. Okay, and also it reads the implicit request data sent by the clients. This can includes, there are two different things. One is called as implicit data, implicit. The another one is called as the explicit. Okay, so what is called implicit? Implicit means something called as cookies or media types or schema. So that is going to be called as the implicit data. Explicit data is something called as a data sent by the client. The client shared some data, right? That is called as the explicit data. Okay. The process the data and generate the result. This process may, requiring taking that is talking to one database. So all the data will be communicating with the database. This will be communicating with the database. So sends the explicit data, the document to the client. So this client data, that is explicit data, will be sent to the client. And there will be a variety of formats like HTTP or XML or GIF images or Excel sheet, whatever it is going to be, that will be sent. So send the implicit HTTP response to the client. This includes telling the browser or the other clients what type of document is going to be. So what type of documents will be mentioned here, and the documents will be shared here. The exact document, that is original document, will be shared here. Okay. So this is about the, a very basic introductions part for this servlet. Clear? And next we can understand, the same thing will be repeated. Like what is the servlet container and what is servlet. Okay, let's get into a simple program how to work with this servlet. Clear? Before getting into the program, I just forgot to tell you one thing. Where is Eclipse? Yeah. So what are these different folders and why we are using this? So in order to run a Java web application, we need servlet or JSP, etc. So we need a web server before running the application, right? So that we already installed, that is Apache Tomcat is running on. So the root directory is what? What is the root directory? Here, the root directory of this web publication is going to be web app. Okay, the web app is going to be the root directory. You can put all the files that could be accessible in your web application. You can put it inside this. Okay, so like example .html file or whatever the extra files you can add it. Clear? And web inf. What is this web info directory? Is located just below the web app, web app root directory. So this is a root directory. Under this, you can see the web inf directory. So this directory is a meta information directory. So this file stored, here or not supposed to be accessible from a browser. It cannot be accessible directly from the browser. Inside this web info directory, there are two important directories that is called as a let or classes, and one important file that is called as a web.xml. So what is this web.xml? So in a web.xml file, it contains a information about the web application, which is used by a Java web server or a servlet container. Okay, this container information about the web application. So let me expand this a little bit. So from the file itself, you can know this file is entirely a .xml file. The extension is .xml is a XML file. Okay, and which is used by the Java web server and a servlet container in order to deploy and execute the application. Whatever the application you are going to create, so that will be it's properly deployed and executed by this that is using this web.xml file. So that is why we are using this web.xml file in a servlet. For instance, the web.xml file contains information about which servlet a web application should deploy and which URL it is going to map. All the informations we would give inside this web.xml file. And what is called this class or the lib directory. So let's talk about the lib directory. It contains all the jar files used by your application. Example, if I want to use a database connectivity for this program, then what I can do, I can include a jar file that is for a MySQL database, that is MySQL connected jar file, and we can add it through the build path. You can add it through the build path, configure build path. Here you can go to the library and click on this class path. You can add the jar files, external jar files. Okay. Then what is called is, var files. Var files is a web archive file. Okay. This is not included in this. This is the excluding part. You can add var files or jar files. Jar files is a jar archive file. Var files is nothing but web archive files. Okay, the web archive file will store a JSP and servlet classes or meta informations and the images, sound, tag libraries, etc. Okay, so that is going to be called as this one. So next so as you guys understand, so what are the important things we are going to create? The first one is a servlet. That is nothing but a Java program. And the another one is a web app. In a web app folder, mainly we are going to focus on web.xml. So web.xml file is nothing but it is used to deploy and execute your web application. That's why we are going for this. Okay. So now we can get into the servlet part. Okay, let's create a name. Public class. 1 second, students. Students, sorry for the delay. Give me 2 minutes. Okay. Sorry for the delay, students. Some interruption. Okay, so public class. And then what is the class name? Class name is going to be Hello Servlet is my class name. Okay. And then what is the first step? We need to extend using a class name that is called as HTTP Servlet is my class name. So here we need to give the package that is called as Java X servlet.http. Okay, we have given it. So next step, I'm going to there is two method we are going to use. Is one is do get and another one is do post. Okay, first we can go with the public void do get method. Okay, in a do get method, I will use a two different things. What are the two different things? Let me show it in the PPT. That is nothing but called as a interfaces. HTTP servlet requests and HTTP responses inside the method. Okay, inside the method I'm going to use. Let me give it as HTTP servlet request and comma HTTP response. So two interfaces, we have included two interfaces inside this. And here also, we need to include the packages, which is necessary. Let me include the package. Next is here also, we can include the packages. Clear? Now, in this place, we need to, another one more thing is there will be exceptions will be thrown for that is IO exception and servlet exception will be thrown. So I'm using a keyword called throws keyword, IO exception, comma, servlet exception. That's all. So now we are moving to the in a logic for this do get method. I need to get the response. Okay, response dot set a content type. Okay, so content type is going to be text. So text, it is going to be in a HTML file. Okay, so it should be the response is going to be the output is going to be displayed in a HTML file. And next is so here we are using the this one response. And next one, I want to create an object using a class called print writer. Okay, so print writer is equals to the response object dot get writer method. So what is this get writer method? Print writer uses a character encoding and return the get character encoding. And if the response character encoding has not specified, described, and then here we are going to use this one, get writer. Okay, so get writer method. And next to this, here also we need to include the package Java io.package. So, or you can directly straight away you can give Java x.servlet dot asterisk. You can also give that. Okay, either way you can do it. And the object is what? Out dot println. I'm going to write some content inside this. First, give HTML. Inside of this HTML, let's create a body. So how you will do the HTML coding? The same thing you're writing here. Okay. So slash body. Inside the slash body, I want to print this in a heading slash h1. Content is going to be, let's give EduNet Foundation PSP program. That's all. So this is my output. This is going to be my output, and public void do post. So it should be posted. Whatever the response we are getting, so it should be posted. Okay, let's copy the same thing. That's so inside this, it is showing an error. Okay. Okay. And next, we can call the do get method here. In do post, we need to call this method called request object and response object. That's all clear. So once we are done with our servlet, you can move on to the web.xml file. So in the web.xml, this is a version, an encoding type, and this is a URL which we got the schema. Okay. You can see the web app, right? So inside the web app, you need to include some two things. What is that? Servlet and servlet mapping. So let's add a servlet. So inside, and the one more thing is servlet hyphen mapping. Clear? So this is servlet and the another one is servlet mapping. So these are the child element of what? Web app. First, we can create a servlet name. What is a servlet name? Servlet name is going to be a batch servlet, right? So batch servlet is my servlet name. And what is a servlet class we mentioned? Servlet class is going to be, what is the servlet class name? Hello servlet. That's all, very simple. And inside the servlet mapping, again, I'm going to mention the servlet name. Next, servlet pattern. So pattern you can give slash whatever you want. I'm giving EduNet slash. Clear? sorry. This is going to be a URL pattern, not servlet pattern, URL pattern. That's okay. There is some error in what is that error? Filling on the package. So now everything is good. Okay. So now what we can do is it is stopped. So I can start my server. Start the server. Just click on start. So server is started and the program is executing. So let's see. So let me run this program. Run on server. Select the server. Click on next and finish. Oh. Okay, here you need to add the pattern. So what is a pattern? You unit pattern servlet. You remove all these things. It's not needed. Oh God. Let me change some other thing. Test. Okay. I got the issue. So now what you need to do is in the servlet class, you need to add this package name also. That is the error. Annamacharya dot student dot hello servlet. Okay. So now we can run this program. It works. Okay. So that's all. So this is how it is communicating. What happened? There are two things. One is servlet class and the another one is your web.xml. So how the HTML page is opening? So this page is opening through the servlet class and that servlet container is executed by a web.xml file. Clear? So this is a simple example of the servlet. So we can also see one more example on this. Before that, did you guys, some of them have given the name for the project, but some students are reminding. Whoever didn't give the names, please provide me the names now in the chat box. I'll give you some time. And in the meanwhile, while that students are giving the name, we can move on to the next example, one more example on the servlet part. Okay. Let's get into the hello servlet. So inside this, now we are going to print some value or we can consider. So how to pass the parameter value. Okay, so here in this place, I will add one JSP. Later we can discuss about the JSP. Don't get complicated. Okay, I will tell you later what is JSP and everything. So as of now, I'll tell you how the login page will be created. Okay, and how the interaction is going to be. So let me give a login.jsp is my JSP page. Okay, let me create. So this is entirely same like HTML only, but small difference will be there. I'm creating a form. Inside the form, let's take a paragraph. I'm getting the username, input type is equals to text, and the name is equals to user name. And if you want the size for that user, you can also mention that. Yeah. Next, I need the password. So this is like a login page, okay? Password. Sorry. Here you can mention it as a password and the name is going to be password. And the size you can mention the same thing. And finally, what we need? We need a what we need? We need a input, right? Input type submit. That's it. And you can give the value for it. Let me give it as a registration or login. Okay. So that's all. Done. So in the form, you need to mention the method. So what method you're going to get it, right? Get the value from the login page. You're going to get the value. And then action is going to be the class name. What is the class name? The servlet class name is hello.java, right? So mentioning hello servlet is my action. That's all. So as of now, everything is done. Now we can get into the code, servlet code. So here, I'm not going to use a post method. Let me remove this. Here, so response and print writer. Okay. So get writer. And directly we are printing it as a single statement, right? So instead of that, I'm adding a two variables. What are those? String username is going to be a string value, right? So let me give it as a username is equals to, and one more thing I want to make sure that is password, right? So username, and then I'm request. Okay, I'm requesting using a request to object. So get the parameter. Okay, this is the method we are going to use. And what is a servlet info that we want to get is user name of that person. And then copy. I want the password. Param password. Okay, that's all. So now here I want to print the value. So how I can do it? I can do it. So out dot println. Here, let me give HTML. So you need to close this HTML. You can close it later. And then out dot println. So you can give it in a single line or you can give it like this. Okay, it's not a problem at all. I'm just showing you two methods. Println. Here I'm giving hello plus the user name. So the username, and then I can give welcome to our LMS portal. Okay, this is just a content I'm just giving. And then for password also, output.println, I'm giving it as your a password is. What is the password? You can add it here. So it should start from the next line. Okay, that's why I'm adding like this, and you can close both the things. That's all. Very simple. Finally, we need to link with the web.xml file. So we already have the servlet name, and then this one is everything is similar, but one more file is web file. We have added login.jsp file so that we can add it. Method is equals to get, and then action is equal to hello servlet. Now web.xml file, I'm going to add one more thing that is called welcome slash file slash list. And then its child is welcome hyphen file. What is the file name? Login.jsp file. That's clear. So we are done with this. We can run this program. So go here, or you can stop this. Okay, sorry. We need to run this login page, right? Let me run on this server. So this is a front end part. So we need to run this. Uh, so what is the error? Let's see. So this hello.servlet page is running, but here alone it is showing properties. Give me 1 second, students. Suddenly I got a call. Okay. This is nothing but simple error only. That is actually I need to change something in a property. Then it works fine. Let me try it again. Not here in the server part. Okay, next class I will tell you more. So on Saturday I can execute this. Don't worry. Okay, so as of now the time is already 7:45. So I just want to discuss about one more thing. Did you guys check the group, WhatsApp group? Today I shared one information.